Have you ever paused to imagine what life might be like for someone who possesses virtually unlimited wealth, a lifestyle so extravagant that it borders on the fantastical? Envision a world where a person owns not just a single luxurious estate, but multiple palaces, each more magnificent than the last, filled with opulent furnishings and adorned with the most exquisite art. Picture an array of sleek, high-end automobiles that gleam under the sun, each one a masterpiece of engineering and design. Think about the sheer freedom of traveling across the globe in your own fleet of private jets, massive, sophisticated aircraft that cost hundreds of millions of dollars each, allowing the ultra-wealthy individual to traverse continents in comfort and style whenever they desire. When contemplating such a lifestyle, one begins to wonder just how many millions are hidden away in the depths of these vast bank accounts. What is the true value of the most incredible yachts, some of which are essentially floating palaces, and what draws such intense curiosity and fascination from the outside world? Even when experts analyze these topics in meticulous detail, vast fortunes rarely remain completely concealed. They tend to reveal themselves through key details and visible assets. Among these, the case of Donald Trump stands out as particularly striking, as his wealth and possessions are impossible to overlook. His residence in Palm Beach, for instance, resembles a modern-day royal palace, an architectural masterpiece that exudes grandeur and power. Meanwhile, his property in the northern part of the country, known as CSNS, appears more like an entire village than an ordinary private residence, with sprawling grounds and numerous buildings that seem to encompass a small community. When Donald Trump travels, he does not blend into the crowd among ordinary passengers. Instead, he uses his own private jet, an aircraft valued at well over $100 million, designed to provide maximum comfort and privacy. This mode of transportation underscores the scale of his wealth and the importance he places on discretion and convenience. Rumors even suggest that among his collection of vehicles, there was once a legendary Lamborghini Diablo, a rare and highly sought-after supercar that epitomizes exclusivity. Additionally, it is said that Trump owns a custom-made motorcycle decorated with gold elements, a detail that sounds almost unbelievable, yet perfectly captures the spirit of luxury and ostentation that defines his lifestyle. These marvels of wealth and extravagance seem to be almost a challenge to mundane reality, a statement of boldness and success that cannot be ignored. However, Donald Trump's exact financial worth remains shrouded in a cloud of controversy and speculation. Various sources provide differing estimates, with some claiming that his fortune fluctuates between just over $5 billion and approximately $6.5 billion, while others suggest entirely different figures. Trump himself enjoys stirring interest and curiosity about his wealth. From time to time, he makes provocative statements, implying that his financial standing is directly affected by market fluctuations, public opinion, or even his personal mood on a given day, especially when he is considering running for political office. Official documents, such as one-page statements, have listed his net worth at nearly $9 billion, but many financial experts remain skeptical about the accuracy of such figures, citing the opacity and complexity of his assets. To be fair, Donald Trump's name frequently appears on various lists of the world's wealthiest individuals, whether in global rankings or in comparisons among prominent political figures and former presidents of the United States. He surpasses many of his peers in terms of wealth, notably outstripping figures like Barack Obama or Bill Clinton. Yet, he remains significantly behind billionaires such as Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, whose fortunes are measured in tens or even hundreds of billions. Despite this, Trump's influence and presence in the world of luxury, real estate, and business are undeniable. The key to understanding the foundation of his wealth lies in his extensive involvement in real estate, a sector he has managed and expanded since the mid-1970s. Over the decades, he has built an empire that includes some of the most recognizable properties in the United States. Among these is the iconic Trump Tower in Manhattan, a towering skyscraper that has become a symbol of his brand. Atop this building, he arranged a luxurious three-story apartment, which he long considered his primary residence. a personal haven amidst the hustle and bustle of New York City. Later, he relocated to Florida, where he made the legendary Mar-a-Lago estate his main home. This historic property, originally intended to serve as a winter retreat, spans dozens of acres and features over 100 rooms, each designed with elegance and grandeur. At Trump's insistence, the estate was transformed into an exclusive club in the 1990s, attracting high-profile members from around the world. Despite its allure, the property has become subject to legal disputes, such as restrictions on the number of days per year the owner can reside there, and other regulatory issues that have complicated its management. In summary, Donald Trump's life is a vivid illustration of how immense wealth can manifest in remarkable and often ostentant. When Donald Trump made the decision to change his primary residence from New York City to Palm Beach, a wave of curiosity and speculation swept through the media and public alike. Many wondered how he would navigate the complex web of legal and contractual obligations associated with his previous arrangements, and whether he would be able to fully comply with all the stipulations of his former agreement. Despite the widespread interest and numerous discussions, no definitive answers ever emerged from his side, leaving the question unanswered in the public eye. Meanwhile, his former residence in New York continued to serve as a hub of activity, hosting an array of distinguished guests, high-ranking officials, and influential personalities, thus maintaining its reputation as a symbol of unparalleled presidential luxury. It became more than just a residence. It transformed into an emblem representing the grandeur and opulence associated with the highest office in the United States. One of the most talked about and widely publicized episodes related to Trump's presidency involved his decision not to accept the presidential salary. By law at that time, he was entitled to receive an annual income of several $100,000, specifically $400,000, which is a substantial sum. However, in a move that surprised many and garnered admiration from supporters, Trump pledged to forego this official compensation. Instead of accepting the money, he committed to directing the funds towards various national causes and initiatives. He began systematically transferring this amount, amounting to $400,000 annually, to different federal agencies and programs, such as the preservation of national parks and the enhancement of educational projects managed by the Department of Education. This promise was not merely symbolic. He kept his word diligently. Every quarter, he transferred $100,000, carefully allocating these funds either to improve the natural beauty and accessibility of national parks or to support programs under the Ministry of Health aimed at improving public well-being. There were instances when Trump took a more direct approach to philanthropy, channeling portions of his official income into financing educational camps designed for children with a keen interest in science and technology. Additionally, he often contributed to the restoration and preservation of historical monuments, recognizing the importance of maintaining the nation's cultural heritage. Although critics argued that some of these acts might have been motivated by political considerations or public relations strategies, the fundamental fact remains clear. Donald Trump voluntarily relinquished his right to a substantial income, choosing instead to allocate his resources to causes he deemed worthy. This act of generosity and self-denial shocked many members of the public and political observers alike, illustrating a commitment that went beyond mere rhetoric. As the President of the United States, Donald Trump was not only entrusted with one of the most influential positions in the world, but also provided with access to an extensive array of amenities designed to support both his personal comfort and official duties. The White House, his official residence, was equipped with features that reflected the scale of presidential privilege. Among these were a private movie theater, allowing for entertainment and relaxation within the confines of the residence, a bowling alley for leisure and recreation, and even a billiard room for more casual gatherings. Behind the scenes, a dedicated staff of highly trained employees was always on hand to cater to his needs, from world-class chefs capable of preparing elaborate feasts of any complexity, to personnel responsible for ensuring that every room, corridor, and corner of the estate remained pristine and impeccably maintained. The White House also boasted a variety of luxurious facilities, including specialized dining rooms for official receptions, opulent halls designed for hosting distinguished guests, tennis courts for recreational activities, and a training hall intended to help him stay in shape. These amenities, combined with the support of the armed forces, made it possible for him to maintain his physical fitness and conduct important business meetings without ever leaving his residence. Throughout the presidency, he had at his disposal official aircraft, helicopters, and motor vehicles, all protected and maintained by the Secret Service, ensuring his safety and mobility at all times. Even after leaving office, the level of attention and support he received did not diminish. The former president continued to be in the public eye, though now within the framework of a standard presidential pension and official expenses. Nevertheless, the expenses he incurred extended beyond his basic salary. Each president is granted additional funds specifically allocated for official events, international travel, and other state-related activities, amounting to tens of thousands of dollars allocated for various needs. Furthermore, there is a separate budget for entertainment and leisure, which can reach very high figures, sometimes amounting to many tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the scope of planned activities or trips. For example, when moving into the White House, presidents are given a certain allowance to update and renovate the interior, with an upper limit of approximately 100,000 units of American currency allocated solely for decor and furnishings. Throughout history, some presidents have taken a different approach to their personal finances and the costs associated with their official residence. For instance, Barack Obama and his family chose to personally cover certain expenses, preferring a more modest approach. Others, on the other hand, have been content with the resources provided by, let's consider, for a moment, the renowned Matis Vineyard, an island that has long been a favorite retreat for many prominent world leaders and influential figures. This picturesque location has hosted a variety of heads of state, including such illustrious personalities as Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, both of whom found solace and relaxation amidst its tranquil surroundings. The vineyard's serene atmosphere and luxurious amenities have made it an ideal destination for those seeking a respite from the burdens of leadership and the relentless pace of political life. In particular, Barack Obama, along with Donald Trump, drew considerable public attention for their visits to exclusive golf resorts. These trips, often described as leisurely breaks, attracted scrutiny because of their substantial costs. Reports indicated that the expenses associated with such visits could reach into the tens of millions of dollars, with a significant portion allocated to security arrangements, logistical support, and other associated expenses required to ensure the safety and comfort of the visiting dignitaries. Despite the hefty price tags, the presidents claimed that these excursions were essentially working vacations, allowing them to combine relaxation with informal meetings and strategic discussions in a more relaxed setting. The question of where a sitting or former leader might continue to lead their lives remains a point of curiosity and debate. Over the years, similar justifications have been offered by other presidents, who argue that these short breaks are a necessary part of their demanding schedules. Nonetheless, public opinion often fixes its gaze on the number of rounds of golf played or the particular resort where the leader chooses to spend their holiday. To many critics, such displays of leisure were viewed as excessive and wasteful, especially given the enormous costs involved, which they believed were unjustified. Conversely, supporters contended that national leaders have every right to indulge in brief moments of rest, emphasizing that the immense responsibility resting on their shoulders justifies such personal time. They argued that these moments of relaxation help leaders recharge and return to their duties with renewed vigor and focus. Turning our attention to Donald Trump's extensive and multifaceted business ventures, it becomes evident that his influence extends far beyond the realm of politics. His journey into the world of commerce can be traced back to the late 1960s, when he began to shape his own identity within his father's company. During this period, he renamed the enterprise the Trump Organization and embarked on an ambitious expansion. Among his earliest high-profile projects was the development of the Hyatt Hotel, which Trump transformed into a symbol of his innovative approach to real estate development and branding. This project marked the beginning of a series of bold ventures, as he sought to leave a distinctive mark on the Manhattan skyline. In the vibrant heart of New York City, Trump was known for his willingness to demolish aging buildings in order to make way for new luxury skyscrapers, a process that often sparked controversy but also reinforced his reputation as a daring real estate mogul. At the same time, he restored historic houses, converting them into upscale residential areas, a strategy that aimed to elevate neighborhoods into elite, desirable districts. At one point, he even attempted to conceive a grandiose plan to build an entire mini-city on one of the largest undeveloped plots of land in New York. This ambitious project was meant to include thousands of studio apartments and expansive retail spaces, transforming the area into a bustling hub of commercial activity and modern urban living. However, Trump's business interests were not limited solely to real estate. His entrepreneurial spirit extended into a variety of industries, as he demonstrated an uncanny ability to turn nearly anything into a profitable venture. Under his name, products ranged from premium steaks and luxury vodka to specialized vitamins and even urine test kits. These products, often marketed with the Trump branding, aimed to capitalize on his name recognition and reputation for quality and exclusivity. Naturally, not all endeavors achieved commercial success. Some, like the steaks, failed to garner significant sales, while others, such as the branded vodka or vitamins, proved to be considerably more lucrative. For many years, the Trump name maintained a status akin to a premium brand. It was licensed for the construction of hotels, luxury apartments, and commercial buildings, and countless consumers were willing to pay a premium simply to associate themselves with the resonant, unmistakably recognizable name. The prestige of the Trump brand was a valuable commodity, often sought after by developers and investors eager to leverage its cachet for their own projects. Nevertheless, as Trump's career transitioned into the political arena, a shift in public perception began to emerge. Critical voices grew louder, especially during and after his tenure as a political figure, leading to a decline in the favorable views previously held by many consumers and supporters. Negative reviews started to appear more frequently, and some buyers began to distance themselves from products branded with the Trump name, citing a desire to avoid the ostentatious display of wealth and superficial glamour that had once seemed attractive. The aura of luxury and exclusivity, once a significant part of the brand's appeal, was increasingly viewed by some as superficial or overly ostentatious. In addition to his business pursuits, Donald Trump's interests in sports. When Donald Trump speaks about "my own plane," he is not referring to an ordinary business jet or a standard commercial aircraft. Instead, he envisions a marvel of engineering and luxury, an aircraft that surpasses typical expectations in both size and extravagance. Imagine an airliner that, in its original form, was designed to carry several hundred passengers across long distances, but has since been meticulously converted into a private sanctuary for one of the world's most prominent and flamboyant figures. Inside this transformed aircraft, the space has been reimagined to host only a select handful of guests, yet it offers an experience of unparalleled opulence and comfort. The interior design features mirrored surfaces in the restrooms, creating a sense of vastness and sophistication, while the seats, far removed from the utilitarian comfort of regular airplanes, are more akin to majestic thrones, crafted to evoke a sense of regal authority and exclusivity. This renowned Boeing, affectionately nicknamed the Force One tram, stands as a symbol of Trump's penchant for grandeur. It is not merely a mode of transportation, but a mobile palace equipped with all the amenities one might expect in a luxury estate. Inside, there is a spacious bedroom where he can rest undisturbed, a large cinema capable of hosting screenings for his close associates, and an advanced technological communication system. These high-tech systems enable him to conduct sensitive negotiations and high-level discussions while soaring miles above the ground, effectively turning the aircraft into a flying office and conference room. When this plane was acquired at a price of approximately $100 million, there were critics who questioned the wisdom of such a lavish expenditure. Yet, Trump's stance was clear. He considers his comfort and image to be priceless investments, and he does not skimp on security measures either. In fact, special protective coatings have been applied to the aircraft's exterior to defend against potential threats, while sophisticated communication systems ensure that he remains in constant contact with ground control and security teams, regardless of his altitude or location. Prior to acquiring this flagship aircraft, Trump owned a previous generation Boeing, which served as his earlier private jet. He also possessed a separate, smaller business jet capable of flying at remarkable speeds and offering convenient transportation between states or countries. During political campaigns, the cost of maintaining such a fleet was often criticized as exorbitant, with some commentators claiming that the expenses ran into colossal sums. Nevertheless, Trump believed that sacrificing his personal comfort and the grandeur of his image was a false economy. For him, these elements were integral to his identity. Sometimes, a plane is not sufficient to meet his needs, and in such cases, a helicopter becomes the vehicle of choice. These flying machines are capable of taking off and landing practically anywhere, on rooftops, remote clearings, or even designated helipads in urban settings. Donald Trump owned several Sikorsky S-76 helicopters, each an extension of his penchant for luxury and style. Inside, they resembled his other prized possessions: leather seats, polished wood finishes, and accents of gold, creating a truly luxurious atmosphere even for quick trips. Such journeys, however, often turned into security operations, with multiple helicopters taking off and landing simultaneously to confuse potential threats or malicious observers. This tactic of launching several similar helicopters at once served both as a distraction and a form of protection, making it difficult for anyone to track or predict his movements. Escort procedures followed similar principles, employing decoys and false targets that looked like scenes straight out of a blockbuster spy film. These elaborate maneuvers are just another aspect of Trump's carefully curated lifestyle, in which every detail is meticulously planned to ensure maximum security and secrecy. For him, such measures are merely part of the everyday routine, another element in the dizzying spectacle that is his life. Beyond aircraft and helicopters, it is impossible to overlook Trump's impressive yacht, which further exemplifies his taste for luxury. Named Trump Prince, this vessel once belonged to a well-known arms dealer from the Middle East. Built at a cost of tens of millions of dollars, the yacht was designed to showcase extravagance and comfort. Its features included luxurious salons, fully equipped cinemas, and even helicopter pads for quick, private transportation. The yacht's interior was decorated with rare species of wood and precious stones, creating an ambiance of refined elegance. A crew of several dozen staff members was responsible for attending to the needs of distinguished guests, who could range from celebrities to influential political figures. However, the yacht's story took an unexpected turn when its owner was unable to repay a large loan, forcing the vessel to be sold on the open market. Without hesitation, Trump purchased it outright, without even inspecting it in person, seeing potential in transforming it into a floating reflection of his personal brand. He then undertook a comprehensive renovation, replacing the interior furnishings, adding new luxurious elements tailored for an elite clientele, and outfitting it with features that would appeal to the wealthy and powerful. As a result, the Trump Prince became more than just a yacht. It evolved into a floating palace, a lavish residence that could be moored. Every individual has their own set of tasks and responsibilities that they must attend to in order to ensure safety and smooth operation in critical situations. For instance, when it comes to high-profile security measures, a meticulously planned routine is implemented, beginning with securing a safe passage along the runway for the transportation of the individual in question. This involves carefully coordinating a convoy of vehicles, often heavily armored, that escort the person from the point of departure to their destination. The convoy is not limited to just ground transportation. It is accompanied by an entire fleet of airborne security assets, including helicopters and surveillance aircraft, which continuously monitor the surroundings from above. Such complex operations require seamless coordination with various military branches and air traffic control services. This coordination might involve deploying military units or specialized air units to preempt any potential threats or unforeseen incidents. Sometimes these measures include the deployment of military or police units to secure the perimeter, and, if the situation demands, the use of air assets to provide an additional layer of protection. It's a grand logistical effort that often resembles a spectacle of organized chaos, but every move is carefully calculated and executed with precision. The financial costs of maintaining such a high level of security are substantial. Millions of dollars are allocated solely for the accommodation of agents, the rental of transportation means, and the maintenance of strict secrecy protocols. These expenditures are justified by the paramount importance of safeguarding the safety of the individual involved, who, in this context, is a former, yet still influential, leader of the country. Protecting such a figure demands resources that are often difficult to quantify, but essential nonetheless, given the potential risks involved. Now, shifting the focus to how Donald Trump built his career, his journey from a prominent businessman to a globally recognized figure begins with the moment he joined his family's enterprise. From that point onward, his business ventures took on a more ambitious and high-profile character. He launched new luxury hotels, towering skyscrapers, and engaged in large-scale negotiations with major investment banks and financial funds. These projects exemplified his drive to expand his influence and build an impressive portfolio. There were times when Trump was willing to take on projects that others considered too risky or undesirable. For example, he invested heavily in the construction of the WTO bridge, a significant infrastructure project. However, not all of his business endeavors proceeded smoothly. Some faced serious financial difficulties. One notable example is the Taj Mahal Casino in Atlantic City, which gained notoriety as the most expensive gambling establishment in the world at the time. Despite its initial grandeur, the casino was soon burdened with high-interest debt, leading to a financial crisis. Eventually, Trump found himself forced to negotiate with creditors, yielding a portion of his ownership stake, and even selling personal assets to cover mounting losses. Among the assets he liquidated were his private yacht and a stake in an airline, measures aimed at diversifying his sources of income and attempting to stabilize his financial situation. These steps underscored his willingness to take risks and adapt quickly when faced with adversity. Beyond real estate, Trump also ventured into other lucrative areas of investment, particularly when the real estate market became less attractive due to fluctuating interest rates. He expanded his portfolio by purchasing shares in major corporations, thereby capitalizing on the growth in stock prices and dividends. His investments included shares in some of the world's largest technology firms and prominent banking institutions. Sometimes he went further by acquiring bonds and even physical gold, diversifying his portfolio to include precious metals. At one point, Trump assembled a comprehensive investment portfolio that included a wide range of financial instruments, which proved to be highly profitable. This strategic move surprised many observers, as Trump was widely known as a man rooted in the tangible, concrete world of real estate and construction, an industry characterized by physical assets like buildings and land. Yet, his successful foray into financial markets demonstrated that he possessed a keen understanding of modern investment techniques, akin to those employed by seasoned investors. His interest wasn't limited to domestic markets. He also looked abroad, investing in Asian markets through international funds and acquiring shares in companies involved in green technologies, reflecting a growing awareness of global environmental trends. Interestingly, he often expressed a particular passion for interior design, an obsession with decorating spaces using gold and marble. From opulent chandeliers and grand staircases to intricately trimmed furniture, he favored shiny, luxurious accents in nearly every aspect of his interior decor. His affinity for the Louis XVI style, characterized by elegant, gilded details and regal ornamentation, is especially evident in his penthouses within Trump Tower. These luxurious spaces once astonished visitors with their abundance of gold and exquisite decorative elements, creating an atmosphere of unmatched grandeur. It seemed as though nothing, whether a faucet, a figurine in the hallway, or a piece of furniture, was too precious or too lavish to be covered in gold. Trump himself claimed that this style of decor was not merely about aesthetics, but also about boosting his confidence. Surrounding himself with symbols of wealth and splendor was, in his view, a way to reinforce his self-as. Based on extensive observations and practical experience, it has become evident that a significant portion of the so-called premium or upscale audience has increasingly distanced themselves from resort hotels and luxury products bearing a certain logo, primarily driven by a desire to avoid any association, whether direct or indirect, with controversial or polarizing figures. This phenomenon reflects a broader tendency among affluent consumers to carefully curate their image, steering clear of branding that might link them to individuals or entities whose reputation is under question or who are involved in contentious issues. As a result, many high-end clients prefer to dissociate from symbols that might evoke negative connotations, choosing more discreet or neutral options instead. However, in the complex realm of business and public relations, there exists an intriguing paradox. Negative publicity, often perceived as damaging, can sometimes serve as a double-edged sword, producing unexpected effects. While some individuals and companies may choose to withdraw or distance themselves from such associations, others might, quite surprisingly, find ways to leverage controversy to their advantage. For instance, certain personalities or brands may even experience a boost in notoriety precisely because they are embroiled in scandal, attracting a different kind of attention that can translate into increased visibility or interest. This phenomenon illustrates how, in the world of high-stakes commerce and public life, the impact of negative advertising or reputation damage is far from straightforward. It can, under certain circumstances, act as a catalyst for greater recognition or notoriety. Turning our attention to one of the most prominent figures in the contemporary world, Donald Trump, it's important to note that his family members, particularly his children, continue to actively oversee numerous companies associated with his name. Despite the passage of years since his presidency, the scale of his business empire has undergone various fluctuations, experiencing periods of expansion and contraction, often influenced by political, economic, and social factors. Throughout his tenure in office, new sources of controversy emerged, adding layers of complexity to his public image. Some critics took issue with his lavish lifestyle, particularly his frequent and often expensive travels abroad, questioning whether he was more engaged in leisure or work during these trips. Others scrutinized his choice of vacation locations, where it was often ambiguous whether he was relaxing or conducting official business. Nevertheless, amidst these criticisms, many observers pointed out the positive aspects of his financial contributions and policy priorities. They highlighted his efforts to promote the return of manufacturing industries to the United States and his focus on strengthening the national economy. Despite his well-known love for luxury and opulence, sometimes perceived as ostentatious or excessive, he managed to gather a dedicated following that appreciated his distinctive style and approach. Critics often pointed out his numerous golf trips, viewing them as a symbol of excess, yet his supporters defended this lifestyle by emphasizing the importance of active recreation for stress relief and mental well-being, especially given the high-pressure nature of his role. Throughout his time in office and beyond, Donald Trump has continued to govern with a firm and disciplined approach. In wrapping up this discussion of his luxurious lifestyle, it is impossible to overlook the vast and intricate security apparatus that surrounds him at all times. The United States Secret Service, far from being merely a ceremonial body, functions as a highly sophisticated and impenetrable shield, an almost impenetrable cocoon composed of agents, cutting-edge technology, meticulously planned backup routes, and decoys designed to mislead potential threats. Few people realize the scale of effort and resources that go into ensuring the safety of a figure of such prominence. Every trip involves significant expenditure, from armored vehicles and reinforced limousines to helicopters soaring in the air and patrolling on the ground. Multiple government agencies work tirelessly in coordination, employing extensive intelligence and security measures to prevent any suspicious objects or individuals from approaching within a dangerous proximity of the president or other high-profile officials. While some admire the demonstrative power and sheer scale of these security operations, viewing them as necessary and impressive displays of national capability, others tend to criticize, arguing that such measures are often excessive, costly, and sometimes overly intrusive. These debates reflect the ongoing tension between safety, privacy, and cost efficiency in the realm of protecting the most influential figures. Finally, if your curiosity extends to the lives of other well-known, extraordinarily wealthy individuals, those whose lifestyles are characterized by unimaginable luxury and opulence, then it may interest you to explore further. There are channels and platforms dedicated to revealing the most fascinating details of their private worlds, showcasing everything from their extravagant possessions to their exclusive experiences. Such content provides a glimpse into the lives of the ultra-rich, illustrating what true abundance and luxury look like in the modern age. If you are interested in delving into these topics, immersing yourself in stories about the most affluent and influential people, you will find a wealth of captivating material that reveals the astonishing scale of wealth and the lengths to which these individuals go to indulge their desires for the finest things in life.